Hey guys, how's it going? So the Michigan Capitol building gun ban is moving along at lightning pace, and I have the brand new draft rule that I'm going to share with you on the screen in just 1 second. But we all need to pay attention to this and raise awareness to this. Even those of you who don't live in Michigan need to pay attention to this, because this is the type of stuff you could probably expect to see all throughout this country. Also, I ask you guys to share this video and make sure you're subscribed to this channel, because I am going to be doing further updates on this as it evolves. But again, things are moving fast. Now, there wasn't any law passed that says that the Capitol building is now going to be a gun-free zone. No. This is a rule by the Michigan State Capitol Commission. Now, those of you watching this are familiar with the ATF and how more and more they make rules that have the full force and effect of law, thus removing your elected representatives in Congress and the Senate out of the equation. I'm looking at this as basically the same thing, but here on the local state level in Michigan. Although there was a budget bill that was passed by the Michigan House and Senate to fund this, there was no actual law passed. There was no the Capitol gun ban law passed. Thus, this is bypassing your duly elected representatives and senators, those who are actually accountable to you at the polls, because this is again passed by the Michigan State Capitol Commission. And I'm going to say one more thing. This was all in reaction to the tragic incident that happened in East Lansing, Michigan at Michigan State, which I would note was a gun-free zone, which only affects the law-abiding, obviously, and criminals don't follow laws. Now, as of right now, still, the Capitol building in Michigan is not a gun-free zone, and there haven't been any shootings inside this Capitol building. There's been no, quote, gun crime problems at the Capitol for over 100 years since this historic building has been located where it presently sits. So where there was a gun-free zone, we had a problem with a sick, deranged individual using a gun to do evil things. So obviously that didn't work. So what are they going to do? They're going to make this building, which doesn't have that problem, into a gun-free zone? Yeah, it makes no sense at all, and it's completely contrary to keeping people safe. And I believe this gun ban is going to make people less safe. Not only the legislators and staff that work there, but you, because this is your building that you can go in as well to engage in politics. And we all need to start engaging a lot more on the local level so this stuff doesn't happen in secrecy. Now, this is not only a violation of the Second Amendment, obviously, but it's a violation of the First Amendment, because if I want to go to the Capitol to film and to speak to these duly elected public servants that serve in the House and Senate, I now have to, what, forego my First Amendment protected right to exercise my right to keep and bear arms? That's not the way rights are supposed to work. It also is going to affect your Fourth Amendment rights, that you're not supposed to be subject to unreasonable search and seizure. And as I read through this new policy, you're going to see that it is going to subject you to that, in my opinion. So this is the draft that just came out of this meeting yesterday, dated 7/31/2023. This is revision 3, and this comes from the Michigan State Capitol Commission. Now, real quick here, if you go back a few years ago, Governor Snyder signed a public act declaring this Capitol building as a historic site. So since it's a historic site, they formed this Capitol Commission, to keep the lawn mowed, to keep everything looking good, windows washed, paintings preserved, changing light bulb fixtures. That's typically been the role of this Capitol Commission. Well, now they're saying they have authority through a public act to go much further, including restricting your right to keep and bear arms, which I would note is also going to violate your Fourth Amendment and also make you have to choose whether you can exercise your First Amendment protected rights as well. So this is the security policy for Michigan State Capitol building in accordance with the Michigan State Capitol Commission's authority under the Michigan State Capitol Historic Act 2013, Public Act 240, MCL 4.1941 to 4.1949, to operate and manage the Michigan State Capitol Historic Site, and in carrying out its authority to provide for the safety of visitors to the Capitol building and for those who work within the Capitol building. The Commission adopts the final policy As used in this policy, A, Capitol Building means the Michigan State Capitol Building, including Heritage Hall, the Maintenance Garage, and all other indoor facilities and structures within the Michigan State Capitol Historic Site. So we are talking about indoor facilities and structures here. Capitol Building does not include the grounds of the Michigan State Capitol Building, bound by Ottawa Street on the north, Allegan Street on the south, Capitol Avenue on the east, and Walnut Street on the west, as described in Section 4.2 of the Michigan State Capitol Historic Site Act. Capitol Security means enforcement members of the Michigan State Police, Sergeant-at-Arms of the Michigan Senate, Sergeant-at-Arms of the Michigan House. Explosives means that term is defined in Section 15 of the Michigan Vehicle Code 1949. Firearm means that term as it is defined in Section 1(1)(c) of 1927 PA 327 MCL. PA's Public Act, MCL is Michigan compiled laws. All right. Weapons are not permitted within the Capitol building. Weapons include the following: firearms, explosives. Now, you're waiting for this. There's always one of these in these rules. Here's the catch-all. Other items identified by Capitol Security that pose a potential security threat and that are not reasonably necessary to be possessed within the Capitol building. Now we're going to have to go on their definition of reasonable. This whole ban is completely unreasonable, in my opinion, and in the opinion of the Michigan Constitution and United States Constitution, I would add. So we'll be at the whims of the reasonableness of what the Capitol Security decides. Section 3, the prohibition contained in paragraph 2 does not apply to any of the following. Okay, here's where they're going to have the exemptions. Capitol Security, of course they're going to exempt themselves. Active duty law enforcement officers licensed under the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards, if the officer is in uniform or otherwise properly identified by Capitol Security. Oh boy, I mentioned the ATF earlier. Looks like those and other agents are going to be welcome. I guess they're worried about a potential canine problem at the Capitol, and ATF would be there. You know how they are with dogs, unfortunately. Active duty agents from federal enforcement agencies such as the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and I'm assuming ATF, as authorized by Capitol Security. Private security personnel carrying out official business within the Capitol building who receive pre-authorization from Capitol Security. I would note, I was looking for any types of procedures that they're putting out there where you could become pre-authorized as private security personnel. At the time of filming this, and this is breaking news, keep in mind, I don't see any procedure published on how you would go about becoming pre-authorized private security personnel. For purpose of keeping weapons from entering the Capitol building, all individuals and objects are subject to screening by Capitol Security upon entering the Capitol. These are not just metal detectors. They're a lot more advanced than that, and in my opinion, a lot more invasive than that. There goes your Fourth Amendment protected right. The executive director of the commission shall arrange for the posting of a notice at all entrances to the Capitol building that states, no weapons are permitted within the Capitol building. All individuals entering the Capitol building are subject to the policies and procedures of the Michigan State Capitol Commission. This is going to include the general public, like me and you, as well as the legislators, the staff, employees. It's everybody except for the few narrow exceptions that I listed earlier. Now, here's about how much notice we're going to have of this. I'm giving you guys as much as I can. This policy is effective 3 days after the executive director of the commission provides written notice to the Senate Majority Leader, the Senate Minority Leader, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Minority Leader of the House of Representatives, and the Governor that the weapons detection system for the Capitol building has been installed and is operational. Now, again, the budget has already been passed. Even though it's technically next year's budget, the way the $5 million was allotted, they can start spending this money, at least according to them, essentially right now. So the ball is rolling. I'm hearing reports that by Labor Day, they're expecting to have these installed right around that time, possibly a little bit before that. So we're talking about a month or so from now. Not much time left. I'm trying to raise awareness right now, so please share this. Let everybody know in Michigan what's going on. Because again, this isn't a law. It was funded by the legislature, but this actually just happened in a meeting kind of a secret meeting, to be honest, of the Michigan State Capitol Commission. I don't think many people know about this yet. Look, I'm working behind the scenes as much as I can. We're going to try to do more stuff to raise awareness to what's going on here and try to fight back. I'm angry about this, and I know a lot of you are going to be as well. So stay tuned here. I'm going to be back with more information on this as soon as possible. All right, thanks for watching, and have a good one.